longsword is the most popular weapon.
I know, right?
I had to fire a dung pot at him to make him go away. Aw, damn it. What do you think so far? Shit gets pretty intense. No dungeons in this game. There are maps, each with like different habitats. Holy crap, I'm gonna die. There are six habitats. 7 if you count the massive DLC. So there's the forest, the coral highlands, the wastes, the rotten vale, the elder's recess, and the frozen tundra. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know about you. Materials, money, um, decorations, which give you jewels, which enhance certain abilities. Materials mainly to make more weapons and armor. And then the infinite feedback loop of fight monsters to make armors and weapons to fight stronger monsters to make even stronger and weapons and armor, and so forth. Yeah, crafting is a very big part of this game. Not what I wanted. I really hope he comes over. A little more. There he goes. So I captured him. You can cap or kill. I've played a little bit of Diablo. It felt a bit too spammy. But I don't know. This one feels different, is all I can say. And these are the decorations I'm trying to get. Trying to get certain ones. And so far, none of them are what I am looking for. But that's the game. But it's fun putting together your own builds. There are 14 different weapons. Each of them, I mean, some of them have more varied play styles than others. I'd say they've definitely done a good job with this game. You definitely see a lot of effort put into a lot of details. It definitely feels polished, and they're still putting out content for this. That's why I keep coming back to it. And there's another new event coming, like the 23rd of this month. There's a food system. Of course, you can get certain buffs from there, and of course they animated the entire food scene, as you've seen. Like, there's just a little cat here grinding away at spices. There's a lot of little detail and love put into this game. If you stare at this cat, he's actually does the entire process of making bread, which I find very intriguing. So I can show you the different weapons. Some monster designs I feel are a bit frustrating just to be frustrating. I will say that. Sometimes they make them like unnecessarily hard just to make it hard, and it's not like you can really outplay it. Well, I guess you can, but still. Some monsters are more frustrating than others. So you have your great sword. Oh yeah, it's definitely, there's so many subsystems in this. Um, like first there's learning the nuances of each weapon that they don't really tell you unless you kind of look it up yourself. I mean, they tell you the basics. Um, but then after that, there's armor sets and builds that might amplify a certain playstyle more so than another for the same weapons. Like this great sword, um, there's one called like the sheath style where it's all about yeah, very Japanese. Leave it to Japan. Where it's all about like chopping, putting your weapon away quickly, and then chopping again. Because like each time you put your weapon away, you get a buff. So you want to like chop hard, roll out of the way, put your weapon away, and do it again. And then there's another one where it's just go for like the what's called a true charge slash. In this 3/ combo, 4/ sort of. Massive cleave damage. Lots of damage in one strike. Then there is the longsword. The most popular weapon in the game. The weeb weapon, if you will. It doesn't hit as hard, but it has very fluid combat. You can almost keep the onslaught non-stop, and if you're really good at timing your hits and evasions, like this move right here is called the foresight slash. If you time it properly, when an enemy's attack is incoming and you do this move, you counterattack, and then you can go into this roundhouse slash. And then it levels up your gauge, and then it increases your damage output. At the top left, you'll see like a sword gauge. It goes from white to yellow to red, and then red is like the highest damage buff. And then you can use a level of that gauge to do the helm splitter, which is like the big move. Does crap tons of damage, and it's beautiful in its own way. It's like poetry in motion. Ah, yes. It's kind of like your jack of all trades, master of none. You have this little shield. You can. One perk is that, like, with the weapon drawn, you can use like potions and whatnot. You're pretty mobile. Also pretty fluid combos. Not as high damage though, but then you also have defense capabilities. And you have your little shield bash attacks. You have what's called the perfect rush. If I still remember how to do it. Maybe not. Oh wait, there it is. Let's see. There's the, I guess, I guess the slam attack. Um, Backstep. And then you slam down with your shield, or you chop down with your sword. If you don't miss. It's the most versatile weapon. And yes, you need to like study and practice with the weapons, because I mean, you want to know what you're doing. This is like, the dual blades are the weeb weapon. It's all about fast attacks. You go into demon mode, and even in demon mode you do the Naruto run. Observe. It burns through your stamina because you're moving much faster. But high crit rate, fast attacks, you get the idea. Hammer is fun. It's a hard-hitting weapon that's actually surprisingly mobile. Everyone yearns to do this like Sonic Rush attack. You go for the head and you inflict a lot of stun damage. Then when they're stunned, you do this big bang combo, just smashing down onto their face. I mean, they're all simple, but also complex in their own way. So you have hunting horns, which is like the bard weapon. Let's see, where's one that I like? This one. So they come in all shapes and sizes, like giant pipes, drums, lutes. And then so it is a blunt weapon. And then each attack is coordinated with a certain note that you'll see in like the top left and right. Triangle is like quarter note, circle is eighth note. Triangle and circle together are those, I guess, 16th notes. And then in the top right you also see like, I guess, your music, like the melodies that you'd want to play. And then so as you're smacking, you want to do it in a certain order. And then you'll see like a song gets queued. And then each hunting horn has a different like buffs that they provide. And so this one, when you play, if you play the melody, it'll run through the melodies that you played earlier. And it kind of has that ominous war drum music. And then it'll provide the buffs that correspond with what you played. Earplugs are good. Like, I'm playing the earplug melody right now. And what earplugs does is it prevents you from getting like staggered or stunned when a monster roars, because one of the things, like the larger monsters, whenever they roar and you're in range, you get kind of staggered, and then they often use the opportunity to like sucker punch you while you're still covering your ears. Yeah. Again, leave it to Japan. Um, um, let's see. And then they also add different area of effect buffs or sound pulses that deal special elemental damage to the monster. Like this extended health recovery, I'm gonna leave like this aura, and anybody that walks into it gets a buff for a certain time. And the instruments are all under the hunting horn category. But then of course you have different kinds of instruments. Like I said, you've got like bagpipes here. You've got the war drum. You've got this gnarly looking pipe here, or rattle, if you will. Yeah. This is the lance. Not the most exciting weapon, but it's all about being super tanky. You got your shield, you can turtle, you can like guard almost anything very efficiently. Otherwise just poke, 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 reset, poke, poke, poke. So you try to draw aggro and have them just be slamming into your shield while the rest of your team does the deeps. Next up is gun lance. Oh yeah. Like these weapons are meant to take down monstrosities, so yeah. I mean, this weapon was made from parts off of a gigantic volcano mountain turtle. It also, similar to the lance, it has pretty good guard capabilities, but not as good as the lance. But you get much more offensive capabilities, other than your regular stabbing. You get like shells that you can fire. You can like fire them all at once, pow, and release like 4 shots at once. You can fire them one at a time, and then there's also this special thing called this worm stake cannon, where you kind of like jab this explosive device into the monster and it explodes. And if you're still not satisfied, you can always just charge up your weapon and just fire this Hadouken blast into them while they're sleeping. I know, this weapon's pretty cool. It's not very mobile, but then again, that's why they give you the shield, so you can just kind of turtle and not have to be super mobile. It's releasing all the shells at once, and then there's one. You can always release them one at a time, and you can even charge them up. Yeah. And like, just this weapon has 3 different play styles to it. There's one that's all about like doing the high damage shit like that over and over again. There's one geared around releasing all the shells constantly. reloading quickly and then doing it again. And then they even added this mechanism where you can like take slinger ammo, which is like stuff you find off the ground, and then you can implant this explosive stake similar to the move that you saw earlier, but in this time it stays, and every time you hit it with your explosives, it adds a follow-up explosion. The bigger the explosion, the bigger the follow-up explosion. Yeah. I like this weapon. I don't use it as much as I'd like to, but I like it. This is the charge blade. Combo. So kind of like a Swiss Army knife of weapons. It's got like this axe mode where you chop at enemies. You can do this wild swing into a overhead slam chop. And then you have the sword mode. Yeah. And then in sword mode, you gather like kind of energy by swinging with the sword. And then your weapon starts glowing. And then it does like mini explosions as you attack. And then you can release the energy and like stab it into the monster. And then you can even latch on to the monster and do that. It's pretty satisfying. But you have to be good about like managing both modes, because in the top left there's a gauge, and the blue bar goes down. It means you can't use the sword mode as much, and then so you have to swap back to the axe mode and let it recharge, and then to be like super fluid, you want to like swing from one mode into the other, axe mode, back into sword mode, axe, sword, because if you just like stand there, it's like awkward and slow. Yeah, no worries, it's late, I get it. Thanks for watching though. It's fun to geek out over this someone. Andrew has the game, but he just couldn't quite get into it. Have a good night, man.